A very good noon to one and all. And now, how these threads are made. There are many methods. Very common method is thread machining. So in this thread machining, we have turning, milling, and grinding, and tapping also is there. And now other methods. These are also this method like thread rolling. Okay, other method is thread rolling. Okay, so these are the various methods used for thread making. Okay, I hope everyone understand this up to now. Introduction about the screw threads. That means screw thread and what are the applications of screw threads and what are the various classifications of screw threads and how we are making the screw threads. And now let us move on to the discussion screw thread terminology. So this is the main important topic in this lecture. So everyone please concentrate on this lecture. So this is the screw thread illustration. So this is the basic nomenclature of screw thread. So first one is screw thread. What is screw thread means? A screw thread is a continuous helical groove of a specified cross section produced on external or internal surface of cylinder or a cone. Okay, and now multiple start thread. So this is produced by forming two or more helical grooves equally spaced and similarly formed in an axial section on a cylinder. So this gives a quick traverse without sacrificing core strength. Okay, and now crust. So crust is the prominent part of the thread. That means top surface which joins the two sides of thread. Okay, and next root is the bottom of the groove between the sides of two adjacent threads. Okay, and next one is flank, the straight surface between the crust and root is called flank. So straight surface between the crust and trough means which connects the crust with the root. Okay, so this is the flank. Now pitch, the distance measured parallel to the axis from a point on a thread to the corresponding point on the next adjacent thread is called pitch of the thread. Okay, I hope everyone understand this. And now lead. So lead is the distance through which a screw advances axially in one complete revolution. For a single start thread, that lead equal to pitch. So for a multi-start thread, lead equal to number of starts into pitch. That means lead equal to n into pitch, where n is a number of starts. Okay, and now next one is depth of thread. So it is the distance between the crust and root of the thread measured perpendicular to the axis of the thread, and it can also be defined as a distance measured radially between the major and minor diameters. Okay, Now, next one is thread angle or included angle. It is the angle included between the flanks or slopes of a thread measured in an axial plane. Okay, it is the angle included between the flanks or slopes of a thread measured in an axial plane. And next one is the flank angle. So the angle made by the flank of a thread with the perpendicular to the thread axis, perpendicular to the thread axis, is called flank angle, and it is equal to the half the thread angle. Okay, it's equal to the half the thread angle. And now, lead angle. On a straight thread, lead angle is the angle made by the helix of the thread at a pitch line with the plane perpendicular to the axis. Okay, and next one is helix angle. On a straight thread, the helix angle is the angle made by the helix of the thread at a pitch line with the axis. Okay, and next one is a major diameter. So it is the diameter of an imaginary coaxial cylinder which would touch the crusts of an external thread or roots of an internal thread. Okay, so it is also called as external diameter or core diameter or outside diameter or full diameter of external threads. Okay, and next important one is minor diameter. So it is the diameter of an imaginary coaxial cylinder which would touch the roots of an external thread or crusts of an internal thread. Okay, so everyone understand about the external and internal major and major and minor diameters. So in the major diameter, so the imaginary diameter of imaginary coaxial cylinder which would touch the crusts of an external thread, whereas in minor diameter it touches the roots of an external thread, and here in major diameter uh, or roots of an internal thread, here roots of external thread or crusts of an internal thread. Okay, so reverse. Okay, so major diameter is also called as the external diameter, it is also called as the internal diameter. And now next one is next element one, effective diameter or pitch diameter. So it is the diameter of an imaginary coaxial cylinder which intersects the flanks of the threads, intersects the flanks of the threads such that the widths of the threads and widths of the spaces between the threads are equal, each being half the pitch. Okay, so this is about the pitch diameter or effective diameter. Now important term is visual effective diameter or functional diameter. The functional diameter of an external or internal thread is the pitch diameter of the enveloping thread of perfect thread elements having full depth of engagement but clear at crusts and roots and of specified length. When added to the pitch diameter, the cumulative effects of deviations from specified profile for a specified length of engagement gives the functional diameter. So this is the clear cut information about the screw thread terminology nomenclature. Okay. So I hope everyone understand this concept. Now let us move to the measurement of thread elements. So in order to find accuracy of a screw thread produced, it is necessary to measure various elements whether it is okay or not. So those elements are major diameter, minor diameter, effective or pitch diameter, pitch, thread angle, and thread form. Okay, now let us study how major diameter of a screw thread is measured. So this instrument is known as bench micrometer. So you can see the very rugged cast iron base of instrument, wherein there is a slide which can be moved parallel to axis of the bench micrometer. Slidable body houses the micrometer head. A large diameter micrometer is fitted, and anvil also is there. When we rotate thimble, an anvil moves in or out, and then we have a table to accommodate workpieces of different sizes. We can see a fiducial indicator. This will indicate uh, what is the pressure or force applied on the workpiece. So if we over pressurize the crust of thread, anvils will try to crush the crust. So we don't get proper reading on the table surface. So we can put some fixtures to hold the workpieces on the table surface. So by in this in order to ensure that all the measurements are made at same pressure, a fiducial indicator is used, which it ensures the constant pressure for all the measurements. So the instrument has a micrometer head with a vernier scale to read to the accuracy of 0.002 mm, and it is used as a comparator in order to avoid pitch errors of micrometer threads, zero error setting, etc. A calibrated a calibrated setting cylinder or master cylinder or general cylinder having nearly the same diameter as the major diameter of a thread to be measured is used as a setting standard. That means a standard diameter, setting standard. Okay, so a calibrated setting cylinder is used as a setting standard, which is nearly same diameter as the major diameter of thread to be measured. So the setting cylinder or standard cylinder is held in between the anvils, and reading is taken. So in this mission, there is no provision for mounting the workpiece between the centers, and it is to be held in hand. The cylinder is then replaced by the threaded workpiece, and again the micrometer reading is noted. Okay, so by this uh, we can measure the major diameter of screw thread. So if d equal to diameter of the setting cylinder or standard cylinder, and r1 is reading of micrometer on setting cylinder, and r2 is reading of micrometer on screw thread, then the major diameter of screw thread is equal to the d plus or minus of r2 minus r1. Okay, so the measurement is taken at two or three positions along the thread to determine any taper which may be present, and at least two, preferably three angular positions to detect ovality. Okay, so the any other measurements besides the bench micrometer, any machine used the measurement of effective diameter can be used to measure major diameter with slight modifications in this setup. Okay, and we can conveniently used outside micrometer also to measure the major diameter. The care should be taken to see that the crusts of the thread are not over pressurized. When we move the anvil, we should take care that as soon as the anvil just touches the crust of the thread, we should stop the rotation of thimble. So again the procedure is the same. Reading is taken with standard or setting cylinder. That means R1 we get, and then standard cylinder is removed, and a screw thread is placed in between the anvils, and the reading R2 is taken on by using this relationship. We can calculate the major diameter of the thread. So R2 is taken on the major diameter of thread. By using this relationship, we can calculate the major diameter of a thread. So in this uh, the reading is taken with the standard or setting cylinder, then R1, so that is R1 we get, and then standard cylinder is removed, and required screw thread is placed in between the anvils, and reading is taken. So by using this formula, we can measure the uh, major diameter of thread. So then major diameter of thread is d equal to s plus or minus d1 minus d2. Okay, so as there is a point contact between the crusts of the thread and the measuring anvils, a light pressure must be applied. So do not handle the micrometer ratchet, otherwise errors due to the formation of crust may be introduced. Okay, now let us uh, understand how the measurement of major diameter of internal thread. So let us understand how we measure the major diameter of internal thread and minor diameter of internal thread. So the minor diameter of internal thread can be measured by using taper parallels and also by rollers. Now measurement of major diameter of an internal thread. For this, uh, we use a method called casting method. We can see this diagram. There is a workpiece having internal threads whose major diameter is to be measured. Now we have to take a replica of internal thread. So how do we get the replica of internal thread? So you can see this arrangement. So there is a workpiece with internal thread on both sides of this. So we have to keep wooden blocks. We have to keep the wooden blocks, and then we have to pour it either plaster of Paris or dental wax or sulfur also can be used, and we allow it to settle, and then once it dries, we have to remove the wooden blocks. So we have to remove the plaster of Paris, solidified plaster of Paris. Without rotating the plaster of Paris, we have to just lift it. So we should take care that while pouring plaster of Paris. Okay. So by using this uh, by using this solidified solidified part, by using this bench micrometer, we can measure major diameter of internal thread. So again, in the cast that is obtained, we should measure R1 and R2. So we should use the equation to find the major diameter. Okay. Okay, now uh, measurement of minor diameter of internal thread by using the uh, taper parallels. So for the diameters less than 200 mm, the use of taper parallels and micrometer is a very common method for the measurement of the minor diameter. So the taper parallels are pairs of wedges having parallel outer edges. So the diameter across their outer edges can be changed by sliding them over each other as shown in this figure. So the taper parallel are inserted inside the thread and adjusted until firm contact is established with the minor diameter. So the diameter over the outer edges is measured with the help of micrometer. So by using this we can measure the minor diameter of internal thread. Okay. And now by using the rollers and slip gauges, so this method is used for diameters more than 20 mm diameter. So in this method, precision rollers are inserted inside the thread, and proper slip gauges also inserted between the rollers. Okay, so that firm contact is established. The minor diameter is then the length of slip gauges plus twice the diameter of roller. Okay, so I hope everyone understand this measurement of minor diameter of internal threads. So in this lecture, uh, we have discussed about the uh, what are the uh, what is the screw thread terminology, what is screw thread terminology, and how these screw threads are made, and how the measurement of thread elements. So in this measure diameter of measurement of major diameter of screw thread, so by using the bench micrometer, and by using the outside micrometer, and major diameter of internal thread, okay, and minor diameter of internal thread. So everyone, please read well, stay home, stay safe. Bye.